What's up, guys? Welcome back to Floater Gang. We haven't done one of these in a while, so we have a lot to cover. But first, we gotta start with the final. Wild game two yesterday. It was super fun. Miami coming out with a 3-point victory. So at this point, who do you think should feel better about their performance?
Oh, I'll start it off. Honestly, I think the Heat should, especially they've gotten this far and has tied it 1-1 in the series without Tyler Hero. Their chemistry is really good. Game one, Jimmy Butler did not perform. Max Strus, don't even want to talk about his performance. Caleb Martin did not show up or I guess it was not unexpected because that's kind of how his regular season went. It just wasn't how he's been in all playoffs. So it's a bit unexpected, but it happens. You'll have off games, you have on games. I saw Jokic get an on game for scoring, not as much on rebound, but he still was great on rebounding, but assists were a lot lower and lost the game, but only by 3. And Jamal Murray also didn't have the best game. But I think the Heat should be proud of what they've done, especially down this far. And the Nuggets should be also proud of themselves. They have one of the best well organized teams and one of the best chemistries also out there, and that's why both these teams are in the finals.
Yeah, I think the Heat as well, just because you made it this far. 2 games in, you're on the road in both of them, and you already stole home court advantage. They normally did that this playoffs. They've done that the first game so far, but I still think the fact that they did that second game is really good for them. It's always good to have home court early. So they did already take that. So now all they theoretically need to do is win at home, right? But you never know what's gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, even with the first game, right? Butler played bad, Strus played bad, Duncan played bad, Caleb played bad, as in like sort of right. I mean, and they lost by 11, but the Nuggets had a pretty good efficient game, which I thought was honestly a good sign for the Heat.
Well,
And then they
Jokic
won
and
game
Murray
two.
had a good efficient game.
Yeah, I mean, even the rest of the team overall shot like 55% still. So they still shot really well. So I thought that was a good sign for Miami, and then they showed in game two that it was, and they know how to make the right adjustments. They won. I think if the Heat can just keep Jokic to be a scorer instead of a passer, I think that raises their chances a lot just because then it's more ISO ball and not as much team ball, and the chemistry isn't as involved because Jokic is taking all the shots. And I think that too can ice some of his teammates as well.
Yeah.
So I think if the Heat can just try to keep him, I mean, obviously try not to have him score 40 every game, but if you can have him score 40 with 4 assists and win the game, keep doing it.
And it makes them take worse shots. As we saw in the first game, they won. Jokic shot 8 for 12 field goals. This game, I don't know what it was, but it was not. It wasn't the best.
Which is low for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've seen throughout the playoffs that when Jokic scores a lot, or when he doesn't get a lot of assists, under 5 assists, they lost 9 straight games. So that's a real problem for the Nuggets in terms of if the other guys aren't going, they're not winning these games. I mean, they're in it, but they're not winning them. I mean, obviously they're Jamal Murray shot away from going to overtime and probably winning it because they had the momentum at that point. But yeah, you gotta. I think that's a big problem for the Nuggets. I mean, obviously, Joker's want to keep you in the game as long as you can, but if your other guys aren't knocking down shots, then especially when Jimmy's not having a great game, Bam played really well. Gabe Vincent played really well, but yeah. Caleb Martin again didn't have a great game. I think he only had 1 made field goal, if I'm correct.
Caleb Martin, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Max Strus was 0 for 10 field goals, 0 for 9 threes in the first game.
Yeah, and then
second game he came out really hot.
A little 4 for 10 field goals. Yeah. All 3 points.
Well, he came out hot. He came out hot, didn't finish hot, but he gave you the boost that you needed. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if I'm the Heat, I'm feeling really good. Nuggets, obviously, I'm not feeling terrible. You
just need to make adjustments.
Yeah, you just need to make adjustments.
And I think that's what
they've done that very well throughout the playoffs.
And I think that's what it'll be every game. Each team, the losing team, I mean, obviously the winning team too, but it's just adjustment. I think this finals is mainly just you're gonna have to adjust to however they're winning. You're gonna stop that and make them try to win a different way. That's what Miami did that second game, right? The first game they were passing it, they were getting a bunch of shots with each other. Chemistry was really good. Second game they didn't get as many assists, and they made Jokic score more, and it worked. So I don't think it will necessarily be the same story next game, but
And Tyler Harrow's coming back, I'm pretty sure, game 3.
he is expected to right now. But
So, do you think Tyler Hero's return will be
So-
more helpful than or more hurtful?
So I heard this Draymond thing. I watched a lot of his podcast type things, and he said a lot of good things on it. He was like, and the same thing actually happened for Draymond against was it the Lakers? I think no, the Kings when he stepped on Sabonis. He came off the bench because that's what was best for the team, and it's the same for the Heat because the chemistry right now you don't want to ruin off the starters and guys like that. But I think it's gonna be really helpful because guys like Max Strus, Caleb Martin, and Gabe Vincent, they're not all very efficient guys. I'm not saying Tyler Harrow is either, but he's a really good scorer. He can bring that to the table. And Max Strus, as we saw first game, then you put Tyler Harrow on, he goes off, and I think there's more scoring to the team. But if you need defense, Tyler Harrow's not the guy. And I don't know. You just got they got to be aware of the chemistry that's on the team right now.
Well, I think we've seen kind of lately, like early on in the playoffs against Milwaukee in particular, they were scoring like crazy, and that's because Jimmy was scoring like crazy. And Jimmy slowed down. It's probably, he injured his ankle. He's dog tired. You can't expect someone to play the type of way he did throughout the playoffs every single night. And that's catching up to him. He's still giving his best on the defensive end. His shot's just not going down. So I think Hero coming back will give them the more explosive offense, particularly to keep up with Denver. We saw the first game they just couldn't score with Denver. Second game is when Denver slowed down. Jokic had to really score a lot, and that's when Miami had the advantage when it was a grind out game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Hero coming back gives them a boost if they can't keep it to a grind out game, which it's just going to help people.
Yeah, I'd honestly be pretty surprised if if he does come back game 3. I'd be pretty surprised actually if Bo decides to start him his first game back, considering their chemistry, just everything that's happened with them. He's coming off an injury, right? A lot of players are not going to play their A game the first game back. Unless you're like the greatest players in the history, you're probably going to come off so pretty good. But with Hero too, it was a shooting hand too. It wasn't like it was his non-dominant hand. Mm-hmm. So I think putting him off the bench at least the first game back. I don't know. I think depending on how he plays that first game and whatever happens in practice, he could possibly go back in that starting spot game 4. But I could honestly see him being a 6th man for the rest of the
finals. He was a great 6th man when he was a 6th man.
That too. He was a great starter too, but it's not like he's a worse player necessarily coming off the bench. So I could totally see him being a 6th man in the finals.
Yeah. I've been a little disappointed on Eric Spoelstra part about Kyle Lowry. He's been very efficient this finals. And Max Strus hasn't. I don't know why Kyle Lowry is not starting. It's kind of disappointing to see because they don't really have a true point guard. Like Gabe Vincent, I guess is, but I'd rather have Gabe Vincent play as a shooting guard because I feel like he's stronger in that position. And Kyle Lowry has been efficient on scoring. It's really been fantastic. He's able to pass. He's gotten rebound incredibly well in the short amount of time that he's played.
Well, but that's the thing that Nuggets they're big, that's kind of the storyline in the first game. Are the Heat just too small, and that's why they started Kevin Love. Part of the reason at least. And if you can't bench Gabe Vincent. He's just had 2 of the better games he's had in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I know. I'm saying bench Max Strus.
Yeah, but then you have 2 smaller guards.
You still have Duncan Robinson too that you could start as well. He's been really good too.
Duncan Robinson too.
Especially the game when Vincent was out, he stepped up.
Yeah,
he had a really good step up game too, though.
Did they win?
No, they lost.
Yeah,
they still lost because.
Oh yeah, but he had some big.
But he had 9 assists too.
Yeah, he cut. Duncan Robinson's. You sent me a post by Clutch Points, which I'm not usually relying on Clutch Points to give me wonderful insight, but they were. Duncan Robinson, just his game has evolved so much from just this shooter that was kind of put on the wayside, put at the end of the bench. But he's evolved because he's a cutter. He's a playmaker. He attacks the basket now, and it just totally opens up the game for the entire Heat team. and we saw that in the fourth quarter last night. He won them that game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
They were down 8, and then he scored, I think, 9 straight.
And I mean, you got to give credit to him too. I mean, obviously, all the way to the beginning of the playoffs. I mean, only playing like half the season and being sappy because they thought you weren't playing good enough right now, and then immediately just stepping up that first game that you're back in the playoffs, right? He was. I feel like that's a good sign of maturity for a player. He can sit on the bench for 30 games and then come out still being a great player, not coming out all rusty, missing shots, getting turnovers.
Yeah.
And his defense, I think that one game with the 9 assists when Mitch was out, I think, or game 7, I think he had like 2 steals and a block too. So like he can play defense too. I'm not saying he's the best one on the team or anything like that, but he's a reliable defender too. So the Heat, I think they're in great shape. They've got to keep pounding the ball, do what they do best. So, I mean, it's going to be a great final.
Duncan Robinson only missed 1 shot in 17 minutes last game.
I think he only
shot 4 shots too, I think.
And he only
shot 5, I think. Yeah, I think he was 2 for 2 and 4 for 4 in the fourth quarter.
So I think he definitely needs to be more involved. And
yeah.
I mean, and he was playing, he just didn't
do as much.
Highsmith, I'm surprised his minutes. He only had 6 last game.
Yeah,
he played really well.
Yeah, he did.
And Max Scherz got 29 minutes. I don't like Max Scherz. 4 for 10. I don't like him because he's not consistent.
I mean, he started like 4 for 6 for 4 for 7, so I can see why he got.
Yeah, but he goes on a coach to take them out.
I can see why he got the minutes that.
Yeah, you gotta do.
He was the reason they were on a hot streak.
Yeah. And he was also the reason why the Nuggets came back.
He didn't play. I don't think he played the fourth quarter at all, though.
Yeah. So that was that.
So. Yeah, he didn't play the fourth quarter at all yesterday, so he was not the reason the Nuggets came back.
That's the beauty of the Heat, you know.
And everyone can
shoot it going. And then Duncan Robinson in the fourth quarter scored 10 points.
Exactly. Well, that's the beauty of it too, right? I mean, Jimmy, he's having good games, but he's not having playoff Jimmy games. But they're still winning games because they have people that can step up, like Vincent. Bam was horrible the last like 3 or 4 games against the Celtics, but finally he's back. So that's really good for Miami. Right now. Yeah, or at least for the Heat, yeah.
Jokic may still win. He's just been so good. Probably not.
Just because they lost.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. He totally could, but the winning team's gonna get it.
Yeah.
But
that's just how it is. But yeah, I agree. Like the best player in all the playoffs, I think he's Jokic. Devin Booker's right there, but you got eliminated.
I mean, you got Booker, Jokic, and Jimmy. I think are the top 3 performers.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think his defense. Yeah, but just because of the inconsistency, I don't think he's.
But Jokic,
I think Jokic has such a big gap between.
Jokic has put himself into the conversation as one of the greatest centers of all time, which is insane.
I mean, I think if he wins this title, or even if he doesn't and he keeps playing like this,
yes, he can play any position, kind of, I guess.
I mean, he's creeping towards that top 5 range. I wouldn't put him there. I mean, if he just keeps doing this throughout the years, he's going to win 3 or 4 more titles. And he's going to be up there.
And Jimmy has shot himself up onto the charts too.
I mean, like I said before this run, he's probably not Hall of Famer, but I think right now you got to put him in the Hall of Fame, or at least the second ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I mean, you can't really put this on Jimmy anymore now because of the Gabe Vincent, the Duncan Robinsons, the Caleb Martins that have stepped up. But I mean, this Heat run has cemented, the Heat culture legacy, the Jimmy Butler legacy of just running out, tough.
Exactly, and Jimmy Butler he's not the leader of that culture, but he's a leader player on the court of that culture, and I think that's what helps. Have Vincent, have Duncan, have Caleb all be able to step up and take that role. And sometimes he may be a bit tough with the ball too, but I think the fact that he looks for them too helps build their confidence too. To be like, okay, he's our best player on the team. He's trusting me with this shot right here, right? I mean, you're not gonna probably hit as many shots, or your confidence gonna be down too if your best player doesn't pass the ball, even if you're wide open. Yeah. And that's one of the things Jimmy Butler said after game 1, right? Strus was 0 for 10, 0 for 9. But he said, I didn't care if he's open, I'm going to give him the ball.
Even if
You
got
got to keep trusting your players. At that point, you see, and that's not even Jimmy's fault. If anything, it's Coach Spo's fault. I'm not saying it was necessarily a horrible decision. I mean, he shouldn't have played as much as he did. But you can't put that on Jimmy for trusting him if he's on the court. You know, you gotta if he's not on the court, which I think he shouldn't have been on the court as much. But if he's on the court, you gotta trust him. You gotta show that you have confidence in him.
And honestly, I think the big three guys that are on the Heat, because of what the energy they bring to the team, is Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo, and Jimmy Butler. They always bring energy on the court. They're always loud, like "Let's go, guys, let's go."
Kyle Lowry pushes the pace.
Yeah,
He does, and I think that's part of the reason Lowry might not play. I mean, he still played 26 and 24 minutes these games, but I think that's why he's not getting 30 plus. Just because I don't think his stamina is that great to be able to be that kind of player for 30, 35 minutes.
But it's
and I think that's why he's getting
game. They're winning.
But when he's in the game, it's good. But I just think he
can
play something.
You're going to roll because he brings a certain energy to the table that's everyone's like, all right, this is my time to shine. I'm gonna hit myself right now.
I mean, we saw the Heat comeback happen, and Jimmy Butler was not on the floor. It was Duncan Robinson,
Kyle
Lowry,
Gabe Vincent,
a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
But
Highsmith is also a guy that
I
brings
love
a lot of-
Highsmith.
The one concern I have is the non-Bam Adebayo. That's when we saw Denver cruise.
Yeah, I mean that's the one.
Done.
That's the biggest problem I think too that the Heat have. Besides Love and Adebayo, and they're not even like big bigs. They don't have much size.
They have a terrible depth.
And that's what I heard a lot too. Once the Heat solidified that final spot, is that they were going to get torched because they don't have size. And I mean, they haven't been getting torched, so that's good for them. They
have been getting torched, but
it's also
it's a contained.
Yeah, exactly. They're not getting torched by losing 30 points both games, right? So
I mean, like game two, Jokic was more of a scorer because they were emphasizing
containing the torching.
Containing the torching. Yeah, I like that. But so let's talk.
Or they were accepting being torched in the paint, but that was it. Don't let him torch anywhere else.
What are your thoughts now? Now 2 games home. What's your thoughts?
I think they split these two.
Yeah, I honestly agree. I think it's gonna be 2-2 in the series.
You think Miami's gonna take the game 3 though, or you think Denver's gonna take game 3?
I think.
The
Heat are because of the momentum right now.
So what I've seen from Denver all this entire playoffs, besides the 2 games they lost in Phoenix, after a loss they would come back, or after a close victory, or I don't know how to explain it, but they've always come back with the right adjustments. But they haven't faced an Eric Spoelstra level coach, and they haven't faced a team as good as the Heat. I think the Suns were probably up there.
I think talent-wise they have, but like you said, coaching-wise,
that's
a big.
That's what set the Heat apart from all the other teams they played.
Exactly.
And that's the one place I think that the Heat do have an advantage is coaching. And I wouldn't say it's a wide gap. Michael Malone is a really
it's not
good
a wide
coach.
gap at all. And I think with them too, just the fact that their owner Pat Riley and the coach also have chemistry too, so they can both kind of do things. Jimmy's really in touch with them too. I think that helps a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, the culture it's just different. It sets a different tone, especially at home.
It's a culture you don't see.
The Heat fans, while they do show up late, they show up.
They show up when they need to.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued.
I think the Heat gonna take game 3 because they have momentum. They're going home. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're gonna win it, and then I feel like they're gonna chillax a little bit, which is gonna be unfortunate. Jokic, Jamal Murray, they're gonna come out strong and absolutely win it.
Well, or I could see even to just at that point, Mike's gonna figure out an adjustment to get at least one game.
Well, I'm convinced. I think that Nuggets still have the advantage in the series in terms of
I think so too.
They have the best player.
Yeah.
And they arguably have the second best player. Murray didn't play like it, but
well, every game that the Nuggets do really good.
And Murray
is Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon sets the tone for the Nuggets.
He's got to take advantage of the matchup, but they couldn't because Kevin Love was out there.
Rebounding.
And I just want to say, I kind of disagree with Jamal Murray. He might not have scored too much. He still scored 18 points, but he had 10 assists too. So he's being more of a
He became
playmaker now
the
because he realizes what he has to do.
Well,
he became the playmaker for Jokic stop.
and also he hit those 2 threes at the end.
Exactly.
Which,
I mean, he didn't shoot
That-
well, but 47% still pretty
That
good.
last shot,
but he didn't play up to his.
No, he didn't play up to his what we know he can play to, but he still had a great game.
his last shot was really scary. I really thought.
Yeah, actually, the goal going.
I mean,
That was good defense too, though.
That was
Like,
amazing defense.
both ways. I mean,
So, talking about that last shot, I saw people talking about like, oh, Mike Malone, should have called a timeout, whatever.
No, I disagree. You
I
have,
disagree too. Actually,
like, you don't have momentum, but your guys' energy right now. They have adrenaline. They're going.
And Jamal Murray got a good shot.
He got a good shot.
It was this close to fall.
they were in rhythm, right? Because sometimes I think the problem is coaches do call a timeout right there, while like they're not being trapped in the backcourt or anything, they're making progress or whatever, right? And then they call timeout, and then now you're stuck in the front court or whatever, and you're trying to figure out how to pass the ball in without the defense getting it.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
The Raptors coach, I'm blanking on his name. Nick Nurse, he did it in the finals against the Warriors. Yeah, but we'll talk about that now. Nick Nurse called a timeout. They were on a run, the Raptors. He called a timeout. While were feeling it. While went ice cold. Warriors came back. They ended up still losing, but I don't know. It's just sometimes the wrong decision.
That's a great memory that you had there. Yeah. So exactly.
And it was great offense, just better defense. There's nothing really to do about it.
Yeah. I mean, he just missed the shot.
Yeah.
If that shot went in, they would have been like, "Oh, great job by Coach Malone.
Yeah.
Great job by Jamal Murray.
Play.
Jimmy Butler should have played better defense, which I don't. I mean, he played.
Yeah, he
great.
played.
Not everything falls, it's just what it is sometimes.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued for game 2. So we haven't done a podcast in a while, so not since the Lakers or something.
Not since the finals have been said.
Yeah.
What happened with both teams? Jalen Brown's been in trade talks.
We'll get to that. No, I want to start with the Lakers though, because some news came out today, and there's been a lot of discourse about the team. But first, I want to talk about AD, who I said was one of my best playoff performers, just because of his defensive impact.
Yeah.
But he's up for an extension. If you're the Lakers, do you extend it?
I think so. I mean, I don't know what they're planning. Obviously, maybe. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just especially considering the centers they have right now behind him. No offense, but you don't want either one of those starting right now. So I would say you extend him. I guess it also depends on what LeBron ends up doing. What they end up doing with LeBron.
I think LeBron's gonna stay, but especially if LeBron were to, AD would stay. I think.
That's true.
You think so?
He'll be He'll be the
I
solid.
think they would
number one
build
option.
around Anthony Davis. I think that's honestly the smart move to do. Which I love LeBron. LeBron's great for the Lakers. I think it's time for him to move on and time for the Lakers to build around Anthony Davis a little more.
So that's intriguing. Yeah, so that's intriguing. So you guys are pro extend Davis. I think
so. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of depends, obviously, of what LeBron does.
Anthony Davis is so valuable for your team, or they could do a sign and trade. I don't know. Get something out of it.
But there's also the prospect of trading AD you could get back. That's a very solid package.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, they had the Atlanta trade on rumors. I'm not sure how legit those are. I'm not sure if Atlanta's even looking to trade.
I mean, let's be real here, though. There's been John Collins trade rumors for the last 3 years, and he's still on the team. So,
but he has been on the trade block.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
I don't know.
I don't know how hard they're actually looking either, though.
Yeah.
He's still.
I think they're looking. They're open though to hear.
Yeah, I think that's kind of.
I mean,
how
if I'm willing to trade Trae Young for an Anthony Davis. I don't know if the Lakers would do that. I don't know how much they have to give up.
I think the scenario with them with Trae Young and Collins is how it was with Turner and the Patriots the last 5 years until this year, where they're like, okay, we're going to keep him how it actually are now. Yeah, it's just kind of maybe, but we do like him, but if you give us something we can't refuse, you can have him. So that'll be interesting. I don't think that will happen, but
yeah, I pretty much agree with you. Dallas or Kyrie's looking to recruit LeBron to the Mavericks. That just came out today. Kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of random.
Well, it was weird because I saw that he's trying to recruit him, and then I also saw that Dallas was apparently trying to make a package at the trade deadline for LeBron James as well, and I was like, I mean, I don't know what you would have given up, what you would have been able to give up, especially at that time, for the Lakers to sacrifice LeBron and you don't get Luka or Kyrie back. It really doesn't. And they don't even have like a bunch of draft picks. Well, they have like 5 picks in the next.
Well, here's the thing I can see. LeBron says, "All right, I'm gonna retire, or you trade me to Denver." That's the only.
I don't think he cared that much either though to go.
Well, no, I don't. We're not saying he would. That's the only option. That's the only way that would happen. That's what he's saying.
So I just don't think it's happening. If Kyrie wants to play,
he'd have to somehow come to LA. Yeah.
They would have to trade like 80.
Which I don't think it's happening, especially because Hachimura, Reeves, they're free agents. Reeves could get up to like 100 million.
Well, I've heard the Lakers are planning to match the offer sheet, so it looks like they're trying to keep him.
You think
and he's expensive.
You think that's smart? 100 million, 5 years, I think it was for Reeves.
I think so. Especially, I mean, he's been great. I've heard too that apparently before I heard that the Lakers were gonna match $100 million offer sheet, I heard the Spurs were also dark horse.
I heard that
team to get him, and I don't know if they're just trying to also make sure that it doesn't match up or pair up with Wemby, or I don't know. But
it comes down to Austin Reed.
Yeah,
and I think Austin Reed is gonna want to stay with the Lakers.
I think so too. I've heard him say he wants the team.
But
he'll shine more.
If he wants to sign with the Lakers, he can max sign 4-year $50 million. But if he signs with someone else, he could sign 4-year $100 million, and then the Lakers can match it. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
So I think he signs with like a San Antonio or a Houston, or I don't know what teams have cap space really.
So here's the thing: if he came to San Antonio, he would have a starting job. He'd be a top player. If he wants to sign the Spurs of the team, if he wants to be like a Kyrie Irving in a way, like a little lower. Then join the Lakers again.
Well, I think
it's really up to him.
I think his choice will also depend on what they do with D'Lo because he's also a free agent. So I think his decision will also depend on that because if they get rid of D'Lo, right, he's probably going to resign because he'll most likely be their number 1 offensive point guard, right? And
yeah,
so he'll be that guy. But if they keep him and he might have to still kind of play alongside him or something like that, I don't know how we would feel about that.
Yeah, so I think we're in agreement. You prioritize Reeves over D'Lo.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But you don't want to lose D'Lo for nothing because you gave up a first-round pick. That's true. So the Lakers have said they want to possibly do a Fred VanVleet for D'Lo type of trade. I don't know how
they have. Well, you see, I think part of the problem with them too is they have a lot of free agents. So they have Lonnie Walker, D'Lo, Troy Brown, Dennis Schroeder, and Wendy and Gabriel, all as unrestricted free agents.
Yeah,
and I think Dennis Schroeder, depending on how much he wants,
I think
would be someone to prioritize. I mean, not prioritize, but try to get back to unless he's asking for a bunch of money.
Yeah,
just because of the effect he had with them, and then Ruby's also a player option, just or a team option.
Yeah, I heard they're going.
I think Scottie Pippen as well, but I don't really care.
I think Dennis Schroeder is done with the Lakers. I think.
You think so?
I think he wants to leave.
I mean, I could see him thriving somewhere else too, but I don't know.
I think he was on his Spurs.
I think he could too.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm all for it. I mean, San Antonio, right?
Yes, sir. The Spurs. We're going to veer away from the Lakers and whatever for a second. I heard some discourse about this on Twitter, but should the Spurs, now that they have Wemby, still play out the process of rebuilding, or should they start prioritize buying now, getting the veteran pieces?
I think what they should do is kind of plan a rebuild, maybe try to get a more solid point guard. But I think besides that, they're in really good shape right now. They've got 12 draft picks from 2024 to 2027, 12 first-round draft picks. So I think at this point, I mean, you might as well keep the rebuild going. Maybe try to trade a few picks for like a better starting point guard.
I think this will be a good year for the Spurs to really look at this free agency. They're doing a lot.
Yeah.
D'Lo interested. Denver.
I wouldn't do D'Lo.
Interested.
Yeah, but I mean, I mean, he's saying they have the cap space. You don't lose anything by just signing them, right? So I think that's the best option.
I'm just saying there's a lot of guards down there. They should be.
I think signing a point
guard.
But I just don't like the D'Lo on the Spurs. But like on Austin Reeves, I would absolutely love.
Or Dennis Schroeder.
Dennis Schroeder as a low cost guard kind of.
Yeah, Dennis Smith Jr. is a free agent.
I think Trey Jones is a great player, but as a bench player, not as a starter.
He's not.
Kyrie Irving's a free agent.
And Kyrie the Spurs.
Corey Joseph could come back.
I mean, that would have been bad.
No, I mean I don't. I think
I
he
could
I
better
prefer
come
not to.
back, so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe if we could take him, I think his only role would be just to help to teach Trey Jones.
Trey Jones is a free
George Hill could come back too.
but
Hill is actually still good.
but yeah, the Spurs have to worry.
But I think George Hill will
Trey Jones
play
free agent. If you plan on bringing back Trey Jones,
I think it is.
I mean, I think you do. But
Max Struess's a free agent. Gabe Vincent's a free agent.
Gabe Vincent
could actually be really nice, but I don't know if he wants to leave.
He's gonna get a lot
If the Heat,
from the Heat.
especially if the Heat win, I don't think he is.
Yeah.
He's been getting a lot.
Even
of
if they don't.
Yeah, he's
I
been
mean,
getting a lot of time.
He's been a starter like all playoffs,
Yeah.
so I don't see why it would make sense. For him
It's
to leave.
So yeah, just to finish up on the Lakers, besides, so they're going to want to re-sign Hachimura Reeves. What I think we are a consensus that they need another point guard besides D'Lo. Even bringing back D'Lo, I don't think would be a terrible idea. He would probably be a little cheaper. I mean, cheaper than he would have been.
Yeah.
And he had rough playoffs, but
I mean, it happens.
yeah, it happens. Do you think bringing back D'Lo is a good idea, or bringing in like a Fred VanVleet maybe, or
Honestly,
I even heard James Harden rumors. That's probably not happening.
The biggest rumors I heard about James Harden is him going back to Houston.
Yeah,
But I could even see him staying. From what I've heard too, is he might even actually just stay.
I think he was a fan of the Nick Nurse hire. So.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think he was part of the reason I hired him, right?
Yeah,
that was Harden. Yeah, so he's probably gonna stay.
Yeah,
I don't know what the Lakers have to do to get a guard.
I also kind of like them not getting a guard, kind of going with trying to get another 3D type guy, maybe a.
That's what I'm saying. I think,
and then just running Bron.
Well, Bron and Reeves.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they should do. I mean, backup point guard, but I don't think they should find another guy to be alongside Reeves because I think that will make him not as interested.
Sign Lonnie again.
I think re-sign Lonnie. Re-sign Lonnie.
He played point guard.
You can, yeah, exactly, on the bench. And then if you can re-sign Schroeder as well, good bench player there as well.
I mean, I think they should generally run the same team back.
I think so. I think they had a really great team, honestly.
I think they needed a couple more shooters, consistent shooters.
Yeah, I mean, but even there,
Going back to the Spurs,
overall,
though.
pretty good.
Going back to the Spurs real quick. We don't sign Trey Jones. We got a good point guard. We have Blake Wesley. That's back. Who I actually like a lot. He's a great defender.
Blake Wesley had
We have Brandon as a guard too.
Brandon was really good last year.
Yeah.
Sneakily.
I'm honestly,
We have a lot of young guards.
yeah, and
then
then not from the guard perspective, but in like a sneaky good guy. I wonder what we're gonna do with Bar though. He showed up as a big at the end of the season.
And
I don't know if that was his talent in Champagne. I don't know if that was as much talent as it was just kind of no one caring as much.
I mean, we see
But he
that.
showed positive signs.
We see that at the end of the year sometimes. Sometimes it's actual practice, like
Exactly.
Austin Reed, for example.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if they're
Wow.
gonna try to play him, and if he does good and does bad, and see what they do,
And
or
Devin Vassell can play point guard. I think he'd be a great point guard.
I mean, I would love.
I think
to
he
take on
could
some more
adapt.
ball handling dude.
Yeah, I think he would adapt really well, and I think he'd be a great playmaker. He's a great role player, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he should be more than a role player.
I
I
do
don't think
too.
he'll be a star.
I don't
like
think he'll become
the number one
a
option,
star if he's playing shooting guard. I think he'll become a star if he plays point guard.
or
He's
at
taking
least
the
just
ball.
give him more ball handling dude.
Yeah.
Just more.
Which still,
ball.
I think he'll be more known and more effective if he's a point guard.
yeah. So that's. I think that will wrap up our Lakers/Spurs talk.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the Celtics. They had, I mean, I think that most of the discourse around them has been about trading Brown or firing Missoula.
Well,
both.
first of all, great job, Celtics. Heck of a comeback. It just ended at some point. But
He
yeah,
scripted the whole thing. They wanted that to happen just for the interesting thing.
Jimmy Butler, he just toys with the people, and he's like, "Oh, yo, we're coming back," and then he just ended. But Jaylen Brown, what's the issue with him now? There's a lot of trade talks about him going to the Rockets.
Well, and
the Rockets blow it all up.
The thing too with Brown though, right, is that last game he had 8 turnovers too, which
I think
I've heard a lot of people. Well, I don't think necessarily that, but that also I saw a lot after that, like mixtapes or whatever you want to call them of how he really isn't that great of a ball handler. He's lost the ball pretty easily. You can stop him pretty easily on the ball handling side, especially if you try to force him left, and that's what the Heat did, and that's why he got so many turnovers. So that's just kind of a little thing too. That's like, okay, like what do we want to prioritize and what do we want with him? Because I don't think, at least based off that, you don't want him to play point guard.
Say you're Brad Stevens. What moves do you make this up, or do you trade Brown?
I mean, I think I would look to. Well, I mean, I guess if you're Brad Stevens, I wouldn't look to because he's Jaylen Brown. But obviously, you also have to kind of realize if he, depending on how much he's demanding a trade and wants to be traded, you don't want someone on a team that doesn't want to be there.
I think you trade Malcolm Brogdon as well as he did.
And
they lost all 3 games when Malcolm Brogdon played. Malcolm Brogdon was out. They won 3 games to Celtics.
Well, so
they came back.
So the game that he
he scored,
the 3 games they won
passed on, and the other guys were not.
So 3 games they won. The first one against the Heat. The first one, Brogdon played 7 minutes, got like 1 steal, then got hurt. Then played the next game, and then the game that he came back, he also only played 7 minutes and got like an assist or something. So he clearly didn't have the same effects. Well, could have been the injury, right? But I see where he's coming from.
Well, so I'm not necessarily saying trade Brogdon, but I would say look for an upgrade in terms of it a playmaker.
Yeah.
We saw that last in the finals. They flamed out because they were relying on Brown, Tatum, and Marcus Smart to make plays, and they're just not.
Marcus Smart is a shooting guard.
Yeah, eventually it just gets down to ISO ball, and we saw that yesterday.
Yeah, I saw very.
What do you think? Game 7.
Do you trade Jaylen Brown for KPJ or the point guard, shooting guard?
If I'm trading Jaylen Brown, I'm not getting or the number 3 pick to get Speed.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that could be really.
Yeah, like they need a point guard.
Yeah, but I saw
Marcus Smart is a great player, but as a shooting guard, he's not a playmaker in my opinion. Like he can play.
He's shown that
that's not a dominant thing.
He doesn't want to as much.
That's not as dominant thing.
And I saw a very, very interesting mock trade. Obviously, depends on what happens with John Morant's suspension, but I saw an interesting Jaylen Brown for John Morant mock trade, which I think could be good for both teams. Obviously, if Ja's out half the season, doesn't make any sense.
I think the Celtics would do that.
I don't think they would either, but it was an interesting thing. Right? At first, you're like, oh, that's like a bad trade. But then you think about it, you're like,
if Ja
that could actually be a really good trade for both because you can even put Bane at point guard
or start Tyus.
Or start Tyus.
If y'all was in this issue, I think it'd be fantastic for the Celtics.
I think
honestly really good for the
both
Grizzlies. But with the issues, I think it's pretty good.
Well, especially with that, it's a very interesting one. But I saw that and I was like, at first I was like, that's stupid. And then I'm like, well, that could, if there was nothing with John Morant, that could actually be a really good big trade for both teams.
But like I said, if I'm the Celtics, I look for a point guard, and if I'm trading Brown, it better be for a high end.
For a lot, yeah. And then you said that they were thinking about firing Missoula, but I've heard 2-3 times that Brad Stevens said no, we're keeping him. Obviously, he could still get fired.
I think he got
unfair
rap. So he came in as a rookie, barely in training camp. I think when he took.
Yeah,
that's true.
And then he had the whole season.
He did a great job.
He did a great job. They had 57 wins, I think, or 56. I can't remember.
You would have been the first coach to make a 3-0 comeback.
Yeah.
But then Jimmy said no, not you.
Yeah. But and everyone just talks about the negative with Missoula, but he coached a good series. He coached a good series against.
He brought him to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and they lost in 7 games.
It's fine.
And then Tatum got hurt, which drastically unimproved their chances.
Jaylen Brown.
I don't think they would have won that game even.
Jaylen Brown had a pretty awful series too.
Yeah, I just don't think it's fair to put it all on Missoula. And at some point we've got to start blaming the players because that's what we've done. This entire time with the Celtics, we've been Brad Stevens isn't good enough. Let's hire Udoka. Obviously, Udoka was a great coach, but and then he had the whole thing happen.
I have a big topic here.
And
Robert Williams.
Yeah.
You trade him. He's very, very injury prone.
And
he's good, but he's injury prone. Like, do you want him? Or do you want a guy that actually plays?
And Missoula didn't really utilize him a whole lot. Which I think he should have, but obviously he's injury prone, so you can't a lot. I mean, If he wants to trade, I would trade him. But if not, I think
you might as well keep him.
And
Yeah.
then
unless you're getting Dane, if it takes
Well, yeah,
Robert
and
Williams.
especially now, right? I mean, they purposely at the trade deadline got Blake Griffin and Mike Muscala, so that way they have backups. Because before, right, it was like they had Horford and Williams. If Williams was out, they had like Luke Cornett or Gallinari, who was out for the season, right? As like their backup.
They would shift everything down.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying they lost height because of that. They didn't actually have backup centers.
So why put Horford on?
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know what Horford's contract is, but he's getting old. I don't know if the Celtics can keep relying on him. And he didn't have a great playoff.
I would say get rid of him while he's still somewhat valuable.
Yeah. What's his contract like?
I don't know, but he's still like a pretty good player. Like he's a top defensive player in my opinion.
He locked down Embiid in some point in that period.
I mean, he was really good on Giannis last year too. I mean,
At 2 years.
Last year he was arguably the third best player in the Celtics in the playoffs.
Exactly.
So that's the thing now. Our Horford did he even want to stay? I think he does because he loves the Celtics. He's been there for a while. He came back,
So
Well, so-
definitely have a lot of questions to answer. But I also want to touch on the Rockets because you mentioned it a little bit. You talked about maybe KPJ for Jaylen Brown or whatever, and they're bringing back
KBJ and Sengun for
no. But they're bringing back James Harden potentially. So, in my opinion, I absolutely hate what they're doing. Obviously, so they don't own their first round pick next year. That's going to OKC, which may have to do with the whole buying into win all of a sudden. But what they're doing, bringing in Harden, they're buying into mediocrity. I think you're not getting another star for Jalen Green.
It's true.
Well, you could get probably a low end star, but
there's it's a little off the team topic. Do Spurs still tank? Because they have 4 first round picks. Should they still tank?
No.
Yeah.
Let your guys shine.
So I'm with. So don't try to get trade all your young pieces for vets, but for sure just don't let your guys play. Like what the Thunder did this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
play.
they have because even if they don't get lottery, they have 4 first round picks.
Yeah,
and that's the way it is. Even if you are in the lottery and you get the 14th pick or whatever, it's fine. You have 4 first round. You have whatever many first round picks that year. You have great players already.
That's why I absolutely hate what the Pistons did. I mean, I know Kate had the injury.
And I mean that's most of the reason why they did it. Is because he was injured and they wanted him to get the surgery.
Yeah.
So like,
Why
we're gonna take so don't come back.
Wiseman.
I feel
Jalen Durant was shining.
And Stewart was good too. I don't know why they got Wiseman either. I mean, he's been good too.
They just
But it is
committed
so
to being,
identified.
they committed to being overly bad, and then they ended up being the 5th
Hey,
pick. They
have so many bigs.
yeah, they just gotta, and they're probably gonna get another big not big in this draft because it's pretty forward heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hated what the Pistons
Well,
did.
their coach became a GM. Let's see what he does. I'm wondering.
Yeah,
Will he become Brad Stevens?
probably not.
Good.
But I think he's like the assistant GM. Is he?
I think he's assistant.
Yeah, because I think they have
He
a
was
pretty
a great
good
coach, in my opinion.
I like him, especially in Toronto.
He was awesome.
Obviously, nobody could win with his Detroit team.
Yeah, and then back.
Well,
to
I think
Rockets,
Monty
I was
was-
happy that they fired Silas because I mean he was horrible.
He just joined the Pistons.
I know, but I saw that he joined them as what was it, assistant coach.
Yeah.
But he was not good for the Rockets. I'll tell you that much. I hated him there. He was horrible. They were horrible with him.
Well, but to an extent, I feel bad for him because that team was horrible.
Your
He
biggest
didn't coach them well, but
Sengun is your center. Like
is he though?
I think he's a power forward.
I feel like he's just in this weird spot because
Yeah.
I think he's a power forward, small forward.
Stop,
He's
stop.
playing center. I don't know.
But
he's
then
not big enough to be a center.
But he's
But
not
he's not quick
fast
enough.
enough. Yeah.
Well, on offense, it works great, but defensively, it's just where I have. the
I
problem.
think he's a power forward. Putting it all.
I think it'd be best to have to train him to be a power forward, and then eventually
Doesn't
get
a
him.
trainer like Jokic or something for him?
I have no clue.
I think Jokic probably has a trainer for Jokic.
No, someone,
If they can hire that guy, do it.
yeah,
That's true.
someone got the trainer of Jokic, from wherever he
Oh,
was.
Serbia?
Yeah, they got to do that. Whoever trained Jokic. Was that?
I don't remember. Atlanta
I hope something bad. I'm forgetting what team it was.
some European league.
But yeah, something like that.
A Warrior.
Oh, he's an assistant coach for
Oh yeah, Kevon Looney. That's why
Yeah.
Kevon Looney kept on rebounding stuff because they have
Yeah, maybe
Jokic's trainer. You see, I was right.
Yeah.
And a lot of trainers teach a lot of different NBA players. by the
But
way.
yeah, so Şengün, like Kevon Looney, he's what 6'8", 6'9".
He's 6'7".
He's slow.
6'7".
He's 6'7".
No,
but,
he might be 6'9".
yeah, but he made a crazy good. I mean,
He had what 4, 5, 20 plus rebounds.
yeah, I mean, he was going toe to toe with AD on the glass. Obviously,
And he was sick. He was
yeah.
sick in one of the games.
And
He still got
obviously,
18 rebounds.
Şengün is more talented than
6'9".
Looney.
And-
Şengün's more talented than Looney. So if you could, and I mean, I don't know. So it's not impossible for him to develop into a good defensive guy.
Looney got 20 plus rebounds against Sabonis from 7-1, and Looney's 6'9". So
Yeah. So I mean, so it's not like Şengün's lost all hope or
No.
whatever.
No.
He's
I
just
think so,
he's
yeah.
got
Develop.
to work on it, and that's
Yeah.
one thing I hate about Silas. He finished Şengün when he was not doing good on defense.
Yeah.
they gotta learn.
Yeah, and which is why also I hate them.
Şengün is 20 years old. Like, don't
Yeah.
give up on him.
Which is why I hate. Well, you're not giving up on him.
Well, I
You're
know,
just-
but I'm saying you should be, right? Like, you gotta.
Şengün has to learn and develop into the position that he's playing in right now. The best case to do that is to play him at all times. He learns the best.
Yeah, but that's also why I hate bringing in James Harden and potentially
Yeah.
James Brown if they do.
I think it takes
or
away.
Chris Middleton.
I think it takes away Şengün's possibilities to grow.
Well, it takes away from the whole team's possibility. to-
Like Jalen Green, look, he's a really talented scorer. He shoots stupid shots sometimes, but so was Zach LaVine. And Zach LaVine's an
Look at
all-star.
A lot of young guys. I mean, you
That
gotta.
dude is a scorer.
Yeah,
You gotta start from.
I mean, yeah, I just, I mean, yeah, you're not going to get your first round pick this year, and you might suck, but you got your guy. You got the number
Exactly.
4 overall
Look
pick,
at
you got
the
the number 3 overall pick. You're going to get the number 4 overall pick this year.
The Heat have a bunch of
Stick with
undrafted
your
guys. It's
Tari
how
Eason-
they develop.
Yeah.
Tari Eason, KJ Martin showed a lot of progress.
Mark Smith started getting in a rhythm.
He did.
For that season.
He hit like 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I think they gotta do the same thing as the Spurs and.
J-Dub, it took him half a season. He got really well. in
Yeah,
the
and now
second half.
J-Dub is.
Considered top rookie.
Yeah.
Or he is the top rookie.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think
that's
any team has a reason to tank this year. I think every team that was bad this year has enough to grow.
I mean, considering what I like, I could see Chicago like if they trade away the guys.
That's true. I guess they could if they. That's true. If they end up just.
Speaking
starting
of
their-
Chicago, I have a big topic. Lonzo Ball. Chicago.
I've heard they
And I
might try to
talked
trade
about-
him.
How Lonzo, his career might be done.
Well, so I've heard them saying that they might try to trade him, but you're not going to get anything for him. And then I've also heard that he might retire, which, I mean,
His
at this
ACL
point, you might as well retire until you're healthy and then come back if you want
his
to come back.
ACL is horrible. Like,
Yeah. I mean, this is the same thing Brandon Roy went through, and he didn't come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's
he
really
was pretty awful
unfortunate.
when he came back.
He's out 2 seasons with an ACL. I mean, you know it's bad. He literally couldn't walk at the beginning of this season. I mean, it's horrible. You hate to see it, but I could see his career being over.
Yeah, it
Which
sucks
is
because he was
unfortunate.
really starting to find.
He really was, yeah.
It's really good.
I mean, he was arguably top 10.
Yeah, and it's horrible. His brother is hopefully he doesn't get ankle issues to where he's gonna have to
Oh well, LaMelo broke his ankle like 3 times.
like 5 times this season or rolled it. Like he's got to figure out how to
The
land.
Ball brothers got some issues, to
They do.
say the least.
And then LiAngelo's still trying to get all the way up to the NBA. Don't know if that will happen. But
He's
he's
put,
putting
he,
the healthiest
he
one
put on a
out
show in the summer league.
2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that's another thing for you.
and then Zion too. I mean, he's got the injury problem too. I don't think
So-
he's better than Lonzo, so I don't think he should look at retirement at all yet. But
But
he's
he's also,
also
he gets to this contract.
There was a lot of stuff that came about the Pelicans this week in terms of like Brandon Ingram's teammates were frustrated at him because he didn't play through injury, Zion refused to work with the
That's
the
why.
head, like
Their chemistry right now in the Pelicans.
Yeah, that's what I love about Anthony Edwards. He says play through the injuries, and he does it too.
He's got that Kobe mentality.
I love that about him, and I think I don't see why every NBA player doesn't. I mean, I guess maybe just because they're making millions anyway, so like, oh, I'm hurt, I'll rest. Oh, I'm still making my money.
Anthony
But
Edwards.
that's what I love about Edwards. He says, dude,
If
if you can play, play. And that's what I think Stephen A said once too, right? He's like, I don't get how people are sitting out one game and then playing the very next day.
Yeah.
If you can play, play. Don't wait till you're 100% healthy.
Well,
you're making millions to play basketball.
Well, I get it if you have like a
I mean, if it's like a broken
like an
bone,
Achilles,
yeah. But if it's like a
Kobe Bryant
ankle,
tore his Achilles, went back on the court, walked, took his free throws, and then went off.
and he's out the next season.
That's true. Well, I mean, he even dislocated his finger. He even dislocated his finger, put it back, kept playing the game, right? I mean, like,
Especially injuries like that.
Yeah, or especially with like rolled ankles, you can play on a rolled ankle.
Right.
Okay?
You're not gonna make it hurt, or you're not gonna make it worse.
Yeah.
Get ankle breaks,
exactly. You don't need to sit out for a whole month because you rolled your ankle.
Well, it depends. Sometimes you do.
If you sprain or something,
If you sprain your ankle,
you don't want to move.
It depends on how bad it is, but you can play after 2 weeks.
Maybe.
Exactly. Like you don't have to sit out a whole month.
The story is
Play through your ankle.
Hey,
and it costs the Pelicans.
Be careful though.
and broken toes. I've had broken toes. Just takes a week. Doesn't take a month. So
I'm actually not with you. I broke both my pinky
Same.
toes. Took me like 6 weeks. It's terrible.
You're just a wuss.
Maybe
You're like the NBA players. We're like Anthony Edwards.
I broke my pinky toe in a week.
it was terrible. It was the worst 6 weeks in a while. That being said, I was. Terrible.
Yeah.
So who were we talking about?
We were just talking about Lonzo.
Yeah.
And the Bulls.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Bulls might tank if they decide to try to ship away Zach,
maybe Toronto.
DeMar.
I've heard that they're
DeMar. I feel like he has a lot of options, in my opinion. A lot of teams could really use him. Wizards.
well. I heard about the Wizards, so they're going to be really aggressive.
Yeah.
Either looking for a blockbuster trade or sending people out. Like
Yeah,
sending out
Kristaps, I heard he's gonna be in trick talk.
I heard that too. Also, I think I heard that they want to bring Kuzma back. He's still relatively young.
Yeah.
Which I don't
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the Wizards, Bulls, Raptors are 3 teams that could potentially blow it up or go all in.
Yeah. And I mean, I like what the Wizards have overall. It's just they unfortunately just don't know how to win.
I mean, they have a solid
part of it too. They really do.
Really solid.
I mean, I guess maybe a solid.
Like
I guess their biggest problem is a solid, true starting point guard.
And
They have Monte Morris and Delon Wright. They're both good point guards, but they're not like that starting point
Well, the
guard.
thing is, they also have health issues. Dude. Kristaps,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Bradley Beal,
Hachimura, when he was still there, he didn't play like a single game.
and then Audio was not consistent.
Okay, he had some really good games and some really bad games. Yeah,
Johnny Davis started.
dude,
He scored like 10 points.
They gotta put him as point guard next year.
As soon as we started watching Johnny Davis,
Especially if they decide to tank or just throw everything away. Start Johnny Davis. Let him get his time now.
Yeah,
he played point guard in Wisconsin.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That man played like Kobe in Wisconsin.
he was awesome.
He was. It was kind of sad to see how bad he was after.
He really had us thinking he was like a top 5 player in the draft. Yeah. We were
Hey,
mad that
could be.
we were mad that we took Stoney over Davis.
He could be a late bloomer and get
He
turned
could be.
into Kobe.
Who else was like that?
Kobe kind of was.
Kobe was. Booker was like that.
Yeah.
He had a rough start to his rookie year. Then I think he turned it up.
Yeah, he turned it up pretty fast though.
Yeah. He scored
Garland.
70. He scored 70. Garland. That's actually the perfect example. He was.
In his first season. The second season was like mid.
Yeah. Third season.
That's where he went off.
That was when he finally.
Yeah, but you can't underestimate anyone really.
You gotta. Some players need more time. Markel. I mean, he's not like an all-star yet, but he can be an all-star. And he had a horrible start.
Yeah, but
Well,
injury
was mostly injury.
But still, I mean, just in Philly, when he was in Philly too, they didn't even really.
Also,
play
he
him.
was overhyped.
Yeah, I mean, that probably didn't help either.
Gosh, he's like LeBron James.
Yeah, people are saying he's the next thing.
But he's been really good, and I can see him becoming an
And
all-star.
another big topic, speaking of overhyping, everyone said if Victor doesn't become like a top 3 guy, he's disappointed.
Yeah, I
don't think that's true.
So Chris Broussard said if he doesn't turn into like a LeBron, MJ, he's a disappointment. And his career has failed.
And JJ Redick was like, no way. If he just performs and still averages 20 points, 10 rebounds, that's a success.
If he wins a championship, that's because that's like no one does that, or like very few people.
Or especially if he wins the Finals MVP. Which
Well,
I think
yeah.
if you win the championship, he will win.
You see what Gilbert Arenas said? He was like, Victor, don't come here. All these Americans are just gonna make fun of you. You don't show up as like LeBron James or Michael Jordan.
Oh, another big news: Shannon Sharp leaving undisputed. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Shannon Sharp.
I hate him.
You hate Shannon or Skip?
I hate Skip.
Yeah, Skip.
Skip's horrible.
I love Shannon.
I hope
Shannon was the good part about that show.
Yeah, I hope Skip literally just disappears into like the NBA shadow of anything.
No one
ever.
likes him.
Yeah,
he's absolutely true to him.
He really is, and he has such. I was
I
happy.
think he said like,
I hope he's never heard of again in the NBA world,
I don't even know.
or at least not as like
the
great
Ravens
as
probably.
He said like James Harden was like the greatest point guard of all time. He was like Kyrie's not better.
I think he
Kyrie's
said the
not better.
greatest scorer.
Well, no, it was funny because I think it was like
It was something. It was.
he was naming like players better than Jalen Brown, and not even that his list was necessarily bad. His list was just bad for what he said. Because he says, right, he complains about Kawhi not playing, he complains about Kyrie not playing, but yeah, he put them both on there.
Yeah.
Which I agree, they probably are talent-wise better, but based off what he said, you can't put them on.
And I'm pretty sure he doesn't think Michael Jordan or LeBron are top 2 best players.
No, I think he says MJ is, and then LeBron's like sneaking into his top 10.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
That's crazy, too.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's a mad dog of the NBA, for sure. It's wild.
Quite the crazy guy.
Yeah, he really is. So hopefully.
Say the least.
Well, so a couple rumors going around. Apparently, Scoot Henderson is sliding in the drafts. I think that's just like pre-draft.
I think it really just depends on whatever
talking.
the second team wants.
I mean, we heard that last year, like Jalen Suggs was a contender for the first overall pick, and then he dropped to 5 and sucked.
What's Jalen Suggs is also a big question.
That's true.
Maybe he could step it up. Also, Ayton. So the Suns hired Frank Vogel, which is
Oh yeah, so that
an
was
interesting hire. I kind of like it.
well, that was
He's a good
assistant, right?
defender.
He was an assistant, though, right? I don't think it was head, right?
No, yeah, he's there.
It was head. I thought it was assistant coach.
I mean, he's a defensive guru, which you can never go wrong getting a defensive coach. So I mean, I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, they just need to figure out how to use the lineup better than they did this year.
Yeah, and apparently hiring. Well, so they're looking to trade Ayton, which I don't think is a surprise, but they're likely keeping CP3.
I think that's not a bad move.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you could
He's
get
a good player.
I don't really have any comment for this one.
And based off, I mean, you have Durant and CP3 and Booker. You don't need CP3 to be your scorer.
Yeah.
If he just play makes the way he does, you're fine.
So if
And
I'm
then
looking
defense.
to trade Ayton, I'm looking for
A center.
a dependable center, like a Clint Capella maybe, and then a shooter, like a
Hey, and then
Bogdanovich.
after that, maybe try to pull Dwight Howard back from Taiwan as a backup center.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, he's a good
Although
center.
Jock Lando.
That's true. But he's more power forward. I feel like.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's small.
He's
What
pretty
was Miles
small.
Bridges? He coming back?
I've been hearing he's coming back since like February.
But he's gonna have to serve a suspension.
Yeah, I think
I think it
so.
was like 30 games.
Was it that much? I thought it was a pretty small one.
Or maybe like part of the season's already made up.
I think so.
I don't know.
I think it was like 30 total, but something's already been because he already.
It would be great for the Hornets.
But I've heard rumors about him coming back since like
I mean,
February.
The Hornets could be sneaky good next year.
They really
you
do.
got LaMelo coming
He
in.
can stay healthy for one
what,
season.
4th year.
He can finally stay
Yeah,
healthy.
that season though, like Melo Ball came out. Miles Bridges had the best season.
He was an all-star. Or
He was
LaMelo.
Yeah, and Miles Bridges,
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. I was like, yeah, this team playing to play. Then Miles Bridges was like, I want to be in there.
And I mean, I think even without Miles Bridges, they can still. I mean,
Yeah.
Mark Williams and Richards have showed they're good centers. You don't need to replace them. I mean, I guess it just depends on what you do with Dennis Smith Jr., Gordon Hayward, Kerry Rozier,
P.J. Washington's the free agent.
PJ Washington.
I don't
They
know.
just got the I mean, They just have to figure that out. But overall, I think they have a pretty good base. They have a second pick, so they can get Scoot or Brandon Miller. Or
I think we should go Brandon Miller.
I mean, I think
Or you can't go wrong.
you can't go. And if you have PJ Washington, if he performs the way he did, and then you have Gordon Hayward too, hopefully he stays healthy too. You have good, two really good forwards.
I mean, but the thing,
and especially
Hayward stays healthy.
Well, especially if you lose Rozier and Dennis Smith Jr. too, then you're short on guards again too.
And Brandon Miller's not out the clear yet with Case.
Yeah, but it's looking like the won't affect his draft. So.
Yeah.
Like it's looking like he won't be charged with anything. Significant.
Yeah, but I mean, even if so, let's say you lose Hayward, Washington, Rozier, and Dennis Smith Jr. Right? So you lost your forwards and your guards. I mean, you still have LaMelo, but at that point, Scoot's better, I think. So you might as well take Scoot.
I mean, so yeah, even the Hornets' position, not a great team. You take that fire level, and that's Scoot. Especially, I would have no problem with that. But I think the gap is not big enough for you to take Brandon Miller and say that's a bad pick.
No, I don't think so either.
Like I mean, I learned from last year. The Kings took Keegan Murray. I thought Jaden Ivey was better, but when you're, you just gotta trust.
It's best.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. That's what I hate sometimes too, right? Where it's like, oh, they shouldn't have been picked number 4. They were the second best player. Yeah, but they didn't need him. He wasn't a good fit for the team. Right, because that's you thought Ivy. Yeah, I mean, obviously.
I mean, if you're the Nuggets and you get the number 1 pick, then totally.
I mean, yeah,
you're still picking.
Yeah, but like, right, because you said you thought the Kings would and should take Ivy, and I was like, Keegan's a better fit. They need a power forward. That's the one position they need, and that is Keegan. And they end up going with that. And I think that was a better move. I mean, they clearly showed it.
Ivy
didn't hurt. Yeah, I mean, he probably would have been great too, but I mean, he was literally the one position they needed anyways, and he played great too.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Great pick.
So, like, I mean, I think Ivy was second, right? But he could have been first as well.
I think that's. I'm also really looking forward to the Kings next year. Obviously, you're cautious him. Demontis Sabonis
is iffy, honestly.
Yeah,
he's good.
A great regular
He's good. He's good.
He's great in the regular season. Keegan Murray will develop further. They're going to have to replace Harrison Barnes, like it was. They better bring back Malik Monk. I don't know if he's under contract now.
Keep starting Keegan.
Davion Mitchell.
You can get some improvements on offense.
He got a little more fun.
He did. He didn't play much Game 7. Which is weird because dropped 50. So.
Anyway, you can see why. I mean, Davion Mitchell went into the NBA as a defensive player.
Off night.
Didn't play much. Steph played well.
And
not saying
he was playing well anyway.
Not saying that was the immediate correlation, but I mean
it was Stephen Curry. There was literally no stopping him that long either.
Yeah, that's true. And then from the final news for today, I don't have much to comment. Sergio Scarolio is the front runner for the Raptors head coaching job. He's a head coach in the Italian league.
You think JJ Redick will end up actually like looking hard enough to try to become a head coach?
No. I don't think this season, but eventually, I think.
I think eventually he should.
He could be
eventually, honestly. I could see him being a
like as much as it might sound weird, I think he's really focused on his podcast right now.
It's freaking really.
I mean, it's
great.
Yeah.
A lot of people love it. I like it. I mean, I
think it's the #1 sports podcast, or maybe it's the Paul George's podcast. I can't remember.
Paul George's podcast is also going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Draymond, he's got good content.
See, Trey Young started a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not listening.
It's terrible.
Oh, boy.
His voice is just hard to listen to.
So. He messed up his intro like 7 times.
That's funny. Yeah, but, and then...
I mean, people are just, like, starting podcasts because that's the thing to do, but...
Here we are, too. Here we are.
Yeah, but, I mean, we're not saying that we're amazing at it, but...
We want to be.
We want to be. But, you know...
And then what's the other open spot still? Is everything taken now? Head coach?
Yeah, Toronto.
Left for now at least.
Yeah. Yeah, for now. I could see like if Chicago ends up blowing it up, I could see Billy Donovan.
That's true. I can see them firing Donovan actually. Because I was already surprised when they first signed him anyway. They haven't been great since they got him.
I like Billy Donovan in Oklahoma City, but he hasn't been great in Chicago.
He wasn't great in Oklahoma City.
Well, yeah, but
that's why we.
pretty good.
That's why we let him go too. Because
And then he just
he's a good coach.
No,
He's not a championship
he
contender.
lost his starting point guard, who was fantastic along the ball.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the Bulls were the 1 seed when they had Lonzo healthy. I think a lot of people forget that.
And somebody was great last season.
And he
They
fell
stopped
off.
playing him. Yeah,
Fell off in the rotation. It was
Kobe White kind of stepped up on it.
Kobe
He
White
had some really good games.
He's a free agent too.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember.
I
I don't know if
think
he's unrestricted.
he'll-
but
What's the Lakers doing? That's the Lakers point guard type guy they want.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think he's a solid defender, great shooter.
He is.
Actually, I think he's a perfect
Finisher.
player for the Lakers.
He could be a really good player from the
But I don't know how much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Want to keep him.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean they probably won't keep
And
him.
Caruso, he's injured a lot.
Caruso's great when he plays. Though.
Caruso's going to.
And they have Pat Bev too.
I think Caruso's 3 times.
No, he's a.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Pat
But they could.
Bev's leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think he's safe.
He might have. I don't remember. But they had some good guards too. I mean they made up for it. But
Yeah.
that'll be interesting.
Pat Bev would be fun in Houston if they sign James Harden. You know, getting that
I
duo
don't
back
think they should
together.
do- yeah.
No one's stopping them. The all-wash team. Bring back Dwight Howard.
Bring back CP3 and us too.
Pat Bev and Russell not going together.
I mean, we already
No, I'm good.
we already saw that in Los Angeles. I think they turned into great friends. They just on the court together. I think we're not.
Very good duo.
They just didn't play well together.
Yeah.
Which I mean that happens.
And that's another free agent candidate, Russ.
Oh
Is
yeah.
he going to go back to the?
I think
he should.
I think he should
will.
too.
Yeah,
I think
he had a great.
Oh yeah.
There's really no team that I feel like is interested in him.
I feel like the Heat
Besides,
maybe.
I heard they were like close to the deadline, but they didn't.
I think they were the runner-up to sign him, and I think he'd be
okay.
good in maybe Lowry's role with Lowry.
That's-
players.
Yeah, but that's interesting.
I kind of like Gabe Vincent. I'm starting. Oh,
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. We still got the finals though, so no big offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even opened up yet. So
Oh, I think you could trade.
yeah, but there's no free agents or anything yet. So keep watching the finals. I hope they go to Game 7. That'd be really interesting. And then Miami wins too. It'd be great. But I mean, both teams deserve it.
Jokic
I'll be
is
happy
so
with both teams. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so,
Jimmy's just
a lot of these guys, it's kind of their last dance.
Yeah.
In a way, I think. I mean, Jimmy's what 33.
It's only Lowry's and Love's last dance.
Lowry's
really.
won a championship. Love's won a championship.
Yeah.
They're pretty similar.
Yeah, but I mean,
It'd be awesome to win another one, of course.
Yeah.
obviously, I don't want to count out the Heat, Jimmy out ever, but I mean, he's here. This is going to be his best.
I mean, yeah, considering
This is the chance.
he
I
has
think-
so far.
I don't
I
know.
want him to win a ring
So
now.
far. You don't think that's-
At least not talent wise on his team. I mean, obviously in his
No,
position, yeah.
I mean, so when they went against the Lakers, in 2020, I don't think anyone had the Heat win.
I don't think anyone had the Heat going to the finals this year. Jimmy's just him. Like he always had a chance. But I mean, when he was on the
Yeah.
Sixers too, and they got knocked out by the Raptors, they were
They
literally
would've
they were one shot away. I mean,
I know.
they were
that team was so ridiculous.
they were one bounce away,
I think Jokic will.
and they could have won.
I think Jokic at the end of his career will win 3 or 4 championships
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets will run the West.
for a while.
I think for a while. They're young. They're good. Everyone's under contract.
Jokic is one of the greatest centers of all time.
I mean, they're set. I mean,
Yeah.
if they lose this finals, let's not freak out. Say trade everyone. They're right there.
They're still right there.
They're perfectly fine.
And once like, I mean, I think they're definitely going to keep their big three: Jamal, Michael,
They're gonna
Jokic.
keep Gordon too.
That's true. They're probably going to keep Gordon too, yeah.
Gordon's been fantastic.
Maybe
And then, I mean, whatever role players, right? You can only do so much with them.
Yeah.
Let them walk, let them go,
Yeah.
trade them if you get someone good or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they just got to keep running it back.
Yeah.
Take pay cuts if you need to, especially like the star players, right?
I think all the players on always love the Nuggets organization.
Yeah, and I think their chemistry is
I-
great
look,
too.
we
I don't
can-
think a lot of them really want to leave either, right? I think they love.
We don't know any insights to be fair.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, I think I think the only thing this core can stand together is money.
All we know is there's this
Yeah.
group, so you know.
But that's group as
So
well.
yeah.
All right, group had Boston versus LA.
All right, we'll see y'all next week. Hopefully, we'll come up with we're gonna do a mock draft either next week or the week after. So that'll be fun. Anyway, see you later.
See ya.